Now, inflammation is a powerful mechanism that affects various systems in the body differently, depending on where it occurs. Let's dive into how inflammation manifests in different diseases and how it impacts the body's physiology. We'll also discuss why these conditions can be difficult to treat, what options are available, and how you can take preventive steps. When inflammation occurs in the throat, it is easy to visualize. Think redness, swelling, and pain in the pharynx. This inflammation often makes it painful to swallow and may cause your throat to feel dry or scratchy. Inflammation in a sore throat is typically a response to an infection, either viral or bacterial. The immune system's inflammatory response triggers increased blood flow to the infected area, which results in the familiar symptoms of swelling, redness, and discomfort. The throat tissues are irritated, making normal functions like swallowing or speaking difficult. Now, because sore throats can be viral or bacterial, figuring out the cause is important. Viral sore throats are more common and usually go away on their own. But bacterial infections like strep throat require antibiotics. For viral sore throats, rest, warm fluids, and over the counter pain relievers. And for bacterial infections, antibiotics if strep throat is diagnosed. I was at a pharmacy a couple of weeks ago. There's a very like a poster over there caught my eye. The poster read that antibiotics do not work on viral infections. Please remember this. Please do not go rushing to all the antibiotics that you have in your house whenever you have a viral infection. Make sure that it is diagnosed properly. And how do I even put it? Stuffing yourself. I'm literally going to use the word stuffing over here because this is what the general populace do. Stuffing yourself down with antibiotics is not the treatment for viral diseases. You will end up harming your body, maybe even in the short term. Long term, to bhul jao. Please, please, please do not go ahead and start having antibacterials for a viral infection. Your chemist is not your doctor. You need to go to a doctor and get yourself diagnosed that whether it is a viral infection or a bacterial infection. Please, please go to a doctor, get your blood work done if they ask you to do that, and only then proceed further. Moving on. Practicing good hygiene, like frequent hand washing, can prevent many viral and bacterial infections that cause sore throats. Now, moving on, in bacterial infections like cellulitis, inflammation occurs deep in the skin and tissue layers, making the affected area red, swollen, and painful to the touch. This is the body's attempt to fight off bacteria that have entered through a cut or a wound. The immune system floods the area with white blood cells to attack the bacteria. But the inflammatory response can cause tissue damage if it becomes too severe. As the infection spreads, it can affect the lymphatic system and bloodstream, leading to more serious complications like sepsis. Bacterial infections can spread quickly, and if left untreated, they can cause serious complications. The body's intense inflammatory response can actually damage healthy tissues if it is not controlled. Treatment includes antibiotics, which are typically prescribed to target the bacteria causing the infection, elevating the infected area, pain management, and in severe cases, hospitalization for IV antibiotics. To prevent cellulitis, good wound care and hygiene can help prevent it. Always clean and cover the wounds to keep the bacteria out. Infections like the common cold or sinusitis cause inflammation in the nasal passages, throat, and sinuses. The body responds by producing mucus to trap and flush out the infection, which leads to congestion and a runny nose. The inflammation in the upper respiratory tract infections affect your airways, causing swelling that makes breathing more difficult. In some cases, it can lead to sinus pressure and headaches due to blocked nasal passages. If the infection spreads to the lower respiratory tract, it can cause bronchitis or even pneumonia. Most upper respiratory tract infections are viral, meaning antibiotics won't help. And over the counter treatments mainly address symptoms rather than the infection itself, like I had said earlier. Persistent infections or secondary bacterial infections like sinusitis can be harder to manage. The treatment options include rest, hydration, and decongestants for symptomatic relief. And you only have to go for antibiotics if a bacterial infection has been diagnosed. To prevent it, you got to boost your immune system with a healthy diet, adequate sleep, and hygiene practices like hand washing, and it can reduce the risk of getting an upper respiratory tract infection. Now, when bacteria invade the urinary tract, they cause inflammation in the bladder or kidneys. Symptoms like burning urination, frequent urges to go, and pelvic pain are signs of inflammation. The inflammation in UTIs affect the urinary tract's ability to function smoothly, leading to discomfort and difficulty in urination. If the infection spreads to the kidneys, it can cause more severe complications like kidney damage. Now, UTIs can be recurrent, particularly in women, and may become resistant to antibiotics over time. If left untreated, the infection can spread, causing more serious kidney infections or even sepsis. Antibiotics are prescribed to clear the bacterial infection, and supportive care in the form of drinking plenty of water is prescribed to the patient. Now, antibiotics are prescribed to clear the bacterial infection. And the patient is also advised to drink plenty of water to flush out the urinary system. You can prevent it by staying hydrated, practicing proper hygiene, and urinating after sexual activity. It can all help prevent UTIs from occurring. In arthritis, inflammation targets the joints, causing pain, swelling, and stiffness. Over time, chronic inflammation can damage the joint tissues and lead to reduced mobility. In conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, the immune system mistakenly attacks the joint tissues, leading to chronic inflammation. This can result in cartilage breakdown, bone erosion, and joint deformity. The entire musculoskeletal system can be affected as mobility decreases and pain increases. Now, inflammatory joint diseases are chronic and progressive, meaning the damage gets worse over time if left untreated. Managing the immune system's attack on the body's own tissues requires ongoing treatment. Now, to reduce inflammation and relieve pain, biologics and DMARDs, they target the immune response to prevent further joint damage. Physical therapy helps maintain mobility and strengthen the muscles around the joints. While you cannot prevent autoimmune diseases, maintaining a healthy weight and staying active can reduce strain on your joints and lower the risk of joint inflammation. In diseases like multiple sclerosis, the immune system attacks the protective covering of nerves, causing inflammation in the brain, spinal cord, and the optic nerves. This disrupts the ability of the nervous system to send and receive signals. Now, see, neurological inflammation can cause a wide range of symptoms, including muscle weakness, vision problems, difficulty with coordination, and cognitive decline. Now, because the nervous system controls the body's essential functions, inflammation here can affect virtually every system in the human body. Neurological inflammation is complex as it affects communication between the brain and the body. It can lead to long term disability, and treatments aim to manage symptoms and slow disease progression rather than cure the condition. Immunosuppressive drugs are used to control the immune response and reduce inflammation. Physical and occupational therapy is undertaken to maintain function and optimize the quality of life. Now, symptom management is a huge part of this. Medications for pain, fatigue, and also other neurological symptoms are given. Now, while conditions like multiple sclerosis cannot be entirely prevented, managing inflammation through lifestyle changes like maintaining a healthy diet, reducing stress, and getting adequate sleep can help minimize the impact of the flare ups. Inflammation of the heart muscle or myocarditis is often caused by viral infections but can also result from autoimmune responses. This condition can reduce the heart's ability to pump blood efficiently, leading to heart failure if untreated. Now, when the heart becomes inflamed, it affects its ability to circulate blood. This can lead to symptoms like chest pain, fatigue, shortness of breath, and in severe cases, heart failure. Myocarditis can also cause abnormal heart rhythms, known as arrhythmias, which make it difficult for the heart to function properly. Myocarditis can develop suddenly and become life threatening. Diagnosing it early is challenging because the symptoms are similar to other heart conditions, and if left untreated, it can lead to lasting heart damage. Now, anti inflammatory drugs are used to reduce inflammation in the heart muscle. Heart medications are used to manage symptoms like heart failure or arrhythmias. Lifestyle modification is done to reduce stress on the heart during recovery. Now, avoiding viral infections by staying healthy and practicing good hygiene can lower the risk of myocarditis. Early medical attention for chest pain or heart related symptoms is crucial. Now, chronic inflammation has wide ranging effects on the body. While it may start in a localized area, such as the joints in arthritis or the gut in IBD, the inflammatory response can spread and affect multiple systems, leading to a cascade of health problems. Inflammation interferes with normal metabolic processes, contributing to insulin resistance, increased blood sugar levels, and weight gain. Over time, this can lead to metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that include obesity, high blood pressure, and elevated cholesterol levels. Now, chronic inflammation damages the lining of blood vessels, promoting the formation of plaques in the arteries. This leads to reduced blood flow and can result in heart attacks, strokes, and peripheral artery disease. Inflammation is also linked to high blood pressure, as it stiffens arteries and affects the way the heart pumps. Chronic inflammation has been implicated in neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Inflammatory molecules can cross the blood brain barrier and damage neurons, leading to cognitive decline and memory loss. Additionally, chronic inflammation is associated with mood disorders like depression and anxiety as it affects neurotransmitter function and neuroplasticity. For the digestive system, chronic inflammation in the gut, as seen in conditions like IBD or even less severe conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, disrupts the balance of the gut microbiome. This can lead to increased intestinal permeability or leaky gut, where harmful substances enter the bloodstream, triggering widespread inflammation throughout the body. Imagine you're secreting poop inside your arteries and veins. So yes, that is why you need to keep a good check on those markers that define inflammation. Now, when inflammation becomes chronic, the immune system is constantly activated. Over time, this can lead to immune system exhaustion, where the body becomes less effective at fighting off infections and more prone to autoimmune diseases. In some cases, chronic inflammation can turn the immune system against its own tissues, leading to conditions like lupus or multiple sclerosis. Chronic inflammation acts as a silent threat to health, damaging multiple systems and increasing the risk of various diseases. Understanding how it operates and taking proactive steps to reduce inflammation through diet, lifestyle changes, and medical interventions can be key to maintaining long term health.